Hey everyone, it's Debbie Potts, the host of the Low Carb Athlete podcast, and I am on a mission to help you understand fueling and training your best as an endurance athlete, and specifically an aging athlete nearing 50, above 50. And then the female athlete, perimenopausal and postmenopausal. We're all different. So there is not one size fits all, but there's a general template we can start with: how to train for endurance sports, how to fuel for endurance sports, and how to fuel to be burning fat and being able to burn carbohydrates as your backup fuel. So we really want to train to have metabolic flexibility, metabolic efficiency, and make sure we are training the right way. As I know, a lot of people do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and you're just not getting what you want out of that. Why don't you stop, pause, reset, and try something different? So, I do that as a coach, try to get people to do some functional lab testing and look at what they are doing for their fueling, their training, how to time their nutrition with their exercise, how to optimize the elements of the holistic method, which is nutrition and exercise. But then we really need to prioritize sleep, hygiene routine, stress management, and measure both of those. Track with your aura ring, track your heart rate variability, track your deep sleep and REM sleep, and look at how you feel, not just tied to the numbers on your watch, but also how you feel. And then, of course, proper digestion is important as what you eat, but how you eat it and break down your food. And if we have poor gut dysfunction, we have other issues. So we've got training today. We're going to talk about something that's driving me nuts. There's a lot on podcasting. I know Peter, Tia, and the Huberman Lab love their podcasts. Super geek out, science, research based, lots of information. Great for my drives from my house in North San Diego to my mom's in Palm Desert, because they're like 2 hours long. What we've talked about for 20 years or more, the MAF method. The Maffetone method is the max aerobic function heart rate. Suddenly, everyone's talking about this zone 2 training like it's new. Hopefully, if you've been with me 10 years, we've had this podcast. We originally had 100 episodes of Fit, Fat, Fast with John Smith way back 10 years ago. And we would talk about this all the time. I've talked to Phil Maffetone a few times. And I actually trained with Sally Edwards, learned heart zone training way back when, 25 years ago, and did heart zone trainings for people and helped with creating programs based in heart rate. Then in 2005, I started doing metabolic testing cart. 2011, I did Ben Greenfield's Superhuman Coach program, and then his Keon program that we've talked about all this, and the 80-20 training for endurance athletes. I've just gone over the Dr. Dan Plews Endure IQ program. And I've also competed at a high level, top of my age group, in endurance sports, triathlon, Ironman, but also marathons and cycling, long distance events from 2000 until 2013. And then it's been on and off since, trying to rebuild my body and redo how I approach life. Life is not a race, it is a journey. So I just want to revisit the MAF method. So if you're watching my YouTube channel, the Low Carb Athlete podcast, you'll be able to see these slides that I like to use just for visual cues for myself and guide me in my conversation with you. If you're listening audio version, I'll read out what I see on the screen and think about, and then put it on show notes. If you go to debbiepotts.net under podcast show notes, you'll find that about the 80-20 method on this episode. Now, the MAF method. Now, I trained with Mark Allen. I was in their Ironman elite team back in 2004. And was training with Mark Allen, where we use the math method, trained by heart rate. We create that base and then train. If you did a metabolic testing cart, I would use my heart rate from that, create a bigger base, and then work on speed work, eventually 20% of the time to improve my, speed and performance, and work on continuing to improve that ceiling where my anabolic threshold was, or where the metabolic crossover point is. So just to review, the math method is 180 minus your age, and it's max aerobic function. Monitoring the heart rate can help individuals personalize their aerobic fitness program and objectively measure progress. Simple and practical measure of metabolic activity, intensity, and stress. Heart rate use is recommended and used by health practitioners, coaches, athletes, and including beginners and those in rehab. Now, max aerobic function heart rate is determined the 180 formula. You can check out philmaffetone.com/MAF/180/personalizing exercise heart rate to learn what your math ranges are. So for example, 180 minus your age, if you're 50 years old, you're going to go 180 minus 50. So your max aerobic function is 130 heart rate. So that's going to be your aerobic threshold, and you can set that on your watch or just pay attention. Example, today I jogged, it wasn't very fast, 120 to 130 heart rate on the beach. And it was amazing. It was sun was rising. It was a beautiful morning. Now, yesterday I did hill repeats, 1 minute hard hill repeats in Torrey Pines at the end of my workout. And I did some 30-second sprints before that. Now, since I did hard as I could yesterday, today is easy. I go by my heart rate, max aerobic function heart rate. My point I want to make today in this episode is this not the same as zone 2? Like zone 1, zone 2. Dr. Stacy Sims talks about, doing your training in zone 1 and then doing all out sprints, 10 to 30 seconds for females, menopausal and right before perimenopausal. For endurance athletes, we've talked about this. As I said, Maffetone, I think 30 years ago, did this. Create that aerobic engine. That's low heart rate training, where we talk about train low, race high. That's with your carb timing, training low carb, and then adding higher carbs on race day. Training low heart rate and maximizing that aerobic engine and that improving that fat metabolism. So aerobic versus anaerobic, and Ben Greenfield's talked about this forever, that we're doing the low or you're going all high. You avoid that black hole. Max aerobic function heart rate is aerobic threshold, your fat max. So Maffetone created this formula years ago, and that's how you can calculate your numbers. If you can find someone near where you live to accurately test you running and biking, because those numbers could be different, to get your ideal max aerobic function heart rate. That'll be more specific for your body at that time where your fitness level is, because it's not going to be your forever. It's going to be, this is where I am right now. So this is off season right now, right? Hopefully some people are doing some fall marathons. If you do triathlons, unless you live in Australia, New Zealand, this is going to be your off season where you should be working on staying low 80% of the time, or maybe 100% of the time if you just got off a busy race season. And then we add in short speed work. So the Goldilocks effect, low intensity training benefits. We want a little bit of everything, not too much of it, not too little, just the right amount for you, which is everything I find is a Goldilocks effect. So finding that right amount for you is what you do working with a coach. And we have the ability to track your recovery and repair, make sure, hey, I need 2 days in between these hard workouts, not one. Let's alternate that hard, easy, hard, and looking at your recovery so you can actually go hard when you need to go hard. Now, the zone 2 workouts that everyone's talking about, Peter, Tia, all these podcasts seems to be zone 2. I assume I interpret it as the same as what math tone, what we've talked about for years, this high aerobic training zone. So staying around that 120 heart rate and trying to run and pace yourself, whatever that run, jog, fast walk might be, and just switch your Garmin watch or whatever you wear for tracking your heart rate, just have heart rate on your screen. So what are the benefits of low intensity training, endurance, exercise? We're protecting your body from metabolic syndrome, recovery from high intensity activity, which is what I did today, and improving your resilience to oxidative stress, aging. So a lot of athletes, which is kind of my point on this podcast, to be fit and healthy athlete and focus on training yourself for your events and races this year, but your future self, how you're going to be living in 20, 30 years from now, is really essential for these sports that we do. These long distance events are creating stress and oxidative damage on your body. So we really need to prioritize how we recover in between sessions by the way we train and by our supplement, nutrition, and biohacking type of recovery things we can do, like the Normatec boots and infrared, hot, cold, and all that. Now, anaerobic HIIT training, I think both of these, you need a heart rate monitor. A lot of people, we don't know how to go easy enough and we don't know to go hard enough. And then some people are just, they go for a run and they're just stuck at 150, 160 heart rate where they should just be 130 for their easy zone 1 math method heart rate training workout. And then when they're doing the HIIT training, they should be 160, 170, and then all the way back down to 130. So anaerobic high intensity intervals, they are beneficial, but also anything too much is not beneficial, right? So we've got to find that Goldilocks effect for how much speed work is going to give me the positive bang for the buck, minimal effective dose, and not overtrain, because a lot of people do too much anaerobic training. And that's maybe why this whole zone 2 trend right now is popular, because so many people are doing sprints all the time. I know I don't have the ability to sprint back-to-back days. Yesterday I did sprints, and today there's nothing going to happen in those legs to sprint. I just finished my slow run jog at 120, 130 heart rate. And then I did some 20-second pickups at the finish just because I was going so sluggish, and it feels good to shake it out. Because there's also part of me that thinks if you train slow and low all the time, you lose the ability to pick it up and go all out. So I do believe this is beneficial to do the HIIT training, 10, 30-second sprints, all out fast as you can, recovery-based training. Don't do your next sprint until your heart rate's all the way back down to say like 100 or 120. So we can have the HIIT training the right amount, but we don't want to have too much of it because we can reduce immune function. We can slow down muscle repair. We can increase inflammation, increase risk of muscle injury, and reduce or impair fat burning if you do it too much. Now, fasted or fed exercise is what we've talked about a zillion times this year. And fasted females are going to be, fasted exercise is different for females than men. So just to touch on this once again, there's lots of benefits. Ben Greenfield had a great podcast out a few years ago on the benefits of fasted exercise, but know that for women, they're going to benefit more if they have a little bit of calories before their workout versus men do better eating afterwards and can have better fat loss with a fasted workout. Now, for me, I've been experimenting with a little bit calories. Instead of doing my Laird's unsweetened creamer, I've been trying adding in some collagen to get some protein, and the carbs are going to come from the sweetened, they're from coconut sugar in my Laird's sweetened, and it's just like 20 calories. I am still burning fat. I'm just giving myself a little carbs and protein. And what Stacy Sims says is women start burning with carbs and then they shift to burning fat. We're more efficient at burning fat longer distance, probably why we're better at endurance than men. But that's where we want to add a little something. I'm not having to eat a meal. I'm still efficient burning fat. And I've tested with Biosense. I was just testing after my workout this morning. When I got home, I was at 11 on my Biosense. So I was definitely burning fat. I am not needing to be in strict nutritional ketosis. I just want to burn fat and kind of hack my way through menopause. So exercise based on a poster here I'm showing on the slide from Precision Nutrition. When is it ideal for mostly, I think this is based on men, exercise duration, when to do fasted? If they're going shorter than 90 minutes, it depends on your intensity. So if you're staying in that zone 1, zone 2, maffetone type of MAF heart rate, you can do low to moderate. You can do that fasted. Your starting muscle glycogen levels are low to normal, because that's what you want to look at if you're doing a morning fasted workout session, which I tend to do. It's what you ate the night before. And for me, I eat early. I go to bed early. Like I'm an 8 p.m. kind of bed person. And so I stop eating. Usually my main meal is around 2 or 3 o'clock, but I'm trying to eat more if I feel like I worked out a lot more that day, or if I went to the gym, I need a little more protein. I'm not being so strict of avoiding anything. So I'm having like bone broth or a protein shake to get my macros in on protein, because I'm trying to build muscle, not lose it as I age. So it's really important to, be open to experimenting with your nutrition, with protein timing, with your workouts. So if I had a later meal and had more carbs, like last night I had cabbage, it was coleslaw salad, and I had that in the evening, like at 5 o'clock. So I'm going to be having some carbs that can maybe fill my muscle glycogen up. So if I work out in the morning and do a low intensity workout, my starting muscle glycogen is low to normal. My pre-exercise nutrition can be fasted, or 10 to 30 grams of protein, which I added a scoop of collagen. Bub's collagen is my favorite, into my coffee this morning before my workout. And then I had water with element in it, the unsweetened kind. Now, this is going to help my fat oxidation, cell signaling. That's going to be beneficial. Now, if I'm doing a morning workout that's high intensity, so I'm doing more anaerobic, burning carbs, not fat, it's going to be different. So my starting muscle glycogen levels, say morning workout, they're normal. I ate the night before. My pre-exercise nutrition for that is suggested 0 to 75 grams of carbs and or 10 to 30 grams of protein. So I've heard some people say like 20 grams of carbs, and that can be from, what I put in my coffee, this Laird's coffee creamer that's dairy free, and it has coconut sugar in it for the vanilla, or I just like their pumpkin spice was just out, and not being so strict of only using unsweetened. So I'm trying to add in carbs that way in my coffee morning drink. If I'm going to go do a hard morning workout, I'll go to the gym and then do run. If it's a hard run, see if that helps my performance. And you want to nail those intervals and get faster and stronger. So I think a lot of people don't look at, am I getting stronger? Am I getting faster running? Are my splits faster? Is my bike performance better? That's when you need to assess your performance if you are experimenting morning workouts fasted, or if you might benefit, especially as a female, to have a little bit of calories beforehand if they're in a coffee drink, and you're still gonna burn fat. You don't have to be in nutritional ketosis deep to get these benefits. So that benefit of those intervals, aerobic capacity, cell signal. If your workout's longer than 90 minutes, exercise is low, heart rate, that zone 1, 2, maffetone style, the starting glycogen is low to normal, that's where you can add in pre-nutrition. 75 grams of carbs is suggested by this program, Precision Nutrition, and 10 to 30 grams of protein. And that goes more with Dr. Stacy Sims' suggestions for female athletes. Dan Plews talks about that 20 grams beforehand with some protein. So you can get that from S Fuels with a slow release carbohydrate. You can try UCAN. You can just have, like Laird's has a new bar that I've been trying out that has a mushroom adaptogens in it. That's just out in Sprouts this week, actually. And they have 20 grams of carbs and 10 grams of protein and 8 grams of sugar. So that's a good option. And that helps fat oxidation. And then if we're going longer, the 90 minutes, you're doing some intervals in there. Like last weekend, I rode to the coast into Torrey Pines Hill, and then you're riding on the 101. There's always pickups through there. So it's high, low heart rate towards the end, second half of my ride. that's when you might want to experiment. And I have not really done this that much, but adding in some carbs and protein before that workout. So if I'm doing a 3-4 hour bike ride or a 2-hour run, I should try to experiment with a carb and protein pre-workout. I like to do Vespa. I've been doing HVMN and ketone IQ shot and having a Laird's bar. I have not gotten into having a meal unless we bike a little later on a Saturday based on weather and the time of year. I might have a little breakfast and then 2 hours later go for a ride. So that makes a difference. So that's on the slides if you want to check that out. It's from Precision Nutrition. So fasted exercise, just to touch on this once again, exercising in a state of glycogen depletion is what fasted exercise means. It can just involve fasting overnight, 8 to 12 hours when the liver is empty of glycogen. And that takes only about 300 to 400 calories stored in there. So we begin to tap into muscle glycogen stores. Protein repair mechanisms begin to kick in as growth hormone and testosterone improve. So if we have even fasted, if we fasted 4 to 5 hours as eating, going for lunch, then do a workout before dinner, intermittent fasting, let's work this out. So if you're eating dinner, you work out in the morning, or you work out, say, late afternoon, you can get some benefits in there. Ideally, exercise in the early evening when the body's primed, say like 3 o'clock, and then you wait to eat 2 hours after that for dinner. And then the morning workout ideally is your morning, I call it kind of the morning wake up call. So you're getting a sunrise walk, you're going for an easy swim, maybe you're doing a sauna and a cold plunge, but your cortisol is already high. If we look at your Dutch hormone panel test, your cortisol rhythm should be higher in the morning. So your glucose will be up if you test your glucose, because it's called that early dawn effect. But that's normal. Your cortisol should get up and wake you up, and melatonin should go down. So we can see that circadian rhythm improve if we get that early morning walk and get your eyes out, looking out to the sun, get some sun gazing to kickstart your day and reset your circadian rhythm. So we don't need to activate our sympathetic nervous system with a hard workout in the morning because our cortisol is already elevated naturally. So that's the recommendation. What's based on the recommendation to work out early afternoon when the body is ready to go. And then you wait 2 hours to eat and take advantage of that increase in testosterone and growth hormone from that workout. So what time is the best time to work out is when you can fit it in. And I know I just do better, wake up, go to the gym, lift weights 30 minutes, and then go for a run. Depends on the time of year. Maybe I'll go for a morning bike ride, but now it's dark out in the morning when I want to get up and work out. So it's a little harder. So I have to rearrange my schedule and maybe focus on getting that bike ride at a quick hour lunch workout for the bike, and then swim 3 days a week instead of 4 days a week. So you got to rearrange based on the season. So working out when you can is what's best. Like if I do better in the morning, I like to do something at lunchtime to move because I'm not used to this computer job. And then evening time just to wind down. If you've been working all day, it's great to go for a walk or get outside. So if you can do easy workout in the morning, save your hard workout for 3 to 5 o'clock, and then, wind down, not working out too close to bed is important too. Okay, so do athletes need to fast? Based on Rob Wolf and Keto Gains information, they have some great research. Athletes fasted training works for some, not for others. And females, we should not be fasted. And there's only, if you look at my Endure IQ information, when I work with female athletes, I go through the best days of their menstrual cycle to do a fasted exercise. And it's only 2 or 3 times a week during their cycle. And it's like mid part of their cycle. So stress people, if you're already stressed out, like a lot of my clients are, they already are too overwhelmed. Doing a fasted workout ends up being another stressor because their body is already on high alert. So some people, eating a little bit of calories before is going to help their body not feel like it's in this emergency state. So you have to look at all of this as it depends. It depends on you. And that's why it's important to, work with a coach. And that's why I do a new client assessment to review. Well, let's look at what you're doing now and see what we need to tweak and adjust. And then my accelerator program is looking at functional lab testing to figure out a program for you based on labs and based on your nutritional therapy and lifestyle and exercise routine. And then I have my VIP program where we do it all and we go 6 months or more, just full time, working on everything of the holistic method. But the female athletes, this is what I did too much of. This is why I talk about it, because I was doing this for years, doing OMAD, doing 2-3 workouts a day, just drinking fat coffee. I did all this for the past 10 years, and I have the hormones of postmenopausal women. My thyroid's super low. My insulin resistance is high for someone that's low carb. And I am, not strict low carb. Low carb could be 100 to 200 grams. So it depends on your workout load. But I'm burning fat based on my blood sugar keto mojo. I've used NutriSense and I'm using BioSense to track, and I'm burning fat. So it's not that I have to do zero carbs. I need to time my carbs, and they have to be real food, not crappy carbs. So female athletes, if you're already stressed from heavy training, work demands, personal issues, ease up on the fasting. Your body will appreciate, Rob Wolf says. Hormonally, men and women are different, and long fasted periods are not suggested for women. Now, I think this is for female athletes. Dr. Mindy Pelz, she's doing all this fasting circles and fasting challenges every month with men and women, but they're metabolically damaged most often, as I interpret it. They're not active athletes as you are. Probably listening to this, you're working out, you're strong, you're doing training for a race. You probably don't need excessive fasting. It doesn't mean you need to eat a huge meal. It just needs like 20 calories in your coffee. So add that collagen from Bubs. They have MCT oil. You can add that, or use Laird's creamer if you're a non-dairy person. It's a great option with the mushroom adaptogens. So females can benefit by breaking the fast before training with a protein and fat shake or coffee or tea. You can do it. So we at Keto Gains, they suggest a conservative approach for women as a 12-hour fast, 12-hour eating window, or even up to 16-8, depending on the time of the month. Premenopausal, postmenopausal women can do the 16-8 probably. They just need to make sure they're prioritizing protein and getting their heavy lifting in short intensity sprints. So less fasting, the better. Men can handle 16-8. And then what Ben Greenfield says is to do once a month, a 24-hour fast, dinner to dinner, lunch to lunch. Maybe it's on a Sunday when your rest day, or Monday is my usual rest day. And make sure your exercise that day is your deload day, that you're not in your luteal phase for women and you're not doing any excessive exercise. You maybe just walking, maybe easy swim, maybe just some weight training, but nothing anaerobic, nothing intense, nothing long. So that's when you can do your cell autophagy. Some people, I've been listening to different podcasts, and that's Megan Ramos was talking about, 36 to 48 hours to do a real cell autophagy. That's when I think you need to match it with really taking a break from your workout schedule, matching it with your hormone cycle for women, and do it for a reason that you have health issues. You need to get rid of dead cells. We can also do that with exercise. So make sure you pay attention to what you're doing and work with a coach to guide you through that. Now, fast exercise guidelines for athletes: men can fast 12 to 16 hours, cycling females 12 to 15 hours. If you're postmenopausal, you can do the 12 to 16 hours. So when to eat or not eat, as I said, if you're a female, eating a smaller workout snack after fasting, non-insulinogenic. So you don't want to spike your glucose up and have insulin be released. So 20 grams of essential amino acids, a little bit of CT oil. As I said, the collagen. So I like Bubs. You can save money with our low carb athlete code. So just plug in Bubs collagen, go to their website. They're in Encinitas. It's actually not too far from me. So fasting 8 to 12 hours is good. Harder workout session you would do ideally later in the day. But if you're doing it in the morning, make sure you're having a good dinner the night before, saving your carbs for that evening meal. And again, those are nature's carbs, not eating crap or McDonald's or something. But get up in the morning if you're doing a fasted workout, For man, it's okay. Just prioritize your post-workout nutrition, getting that shake or breakfast. Like I just made chaffles and had some salmon that I made yesterday that I had to cook. So I had that salmon today with a couple chaffles. It was pretty good. So chaffles are eggs and shredded cheese made on a little waffle maker. Super good. I haven't made them for a long time. So they tasted amazing. So only if it's going to be a really hard workout, an hour long strength training workout, CrossFit WOD, something like that, you should just do some calories beforehand. So if you're getting up in the morning, do a hard exercise session, you've been fasting 8 to 12 hours, women, you need to eat a little something. And don't be afraid, you're still going to burn fat. You're just going to improve your performance, improve your strength, improve your speed and power. So just remember that we're still going to be burning fat. It's okay. Because women have this hormone you're going to keep hearing about from me and everybody else talking about this subject, KISSPEPTIN. Women are more sensitive to the men. If KISSPEPTIN hormone is disrupted, the sex hormones are not produced as they should be. If the brain perceives deficiency in nutrients as carbohydrates going too low, or I think in not eating anything, too low in calories, because I tend to do that too. I'm trying to eat more because I'm not hungry and I'm busy and I'm working out and working all day. That it's like I eat one big meal and I'm full. So you have to sometimes get more calories in with a shake or bone broth or essential amino acids, at least something like that. But you can have reduction in KISSPEPTIN stimulation if your brain thinks you have lack of energy. So that negative energy can increase the appetite and reduce sensitivity to insulin. So if you're more hungry and you're insulin sensitive, this is probably what happened to me a few years ago. Is I was doing this fasted exercise way too much and just not hungry and working out and thriving, but my body became insulin resistant. So, which is my own interpretation, because the doctors, unless you do your own lab testing, which this insulin marker on Ulta Labs, by the way, $26. Doctors will not test this until you're diabetic, which is baloney. So get your health care into your own hands, order your own functional labs, work with a coach to interpret the results. So some research shows intermittent fasting may cause impaired glucose intolerance in women, but not in men. So this is why Dr. Sims is against fasted exercise for women, and she's against keto, which I think is, we're more insulin resistant as we get older, and postmenopausal women are more carb sensitive. So we need to go low carb, but she doesn't say keto means maybe 50 grams of carbs. So it depends what your interpretation to be showing some nutritional ketosis. I can eat a lot of carbs and still show nutritional ketosis. So I don't know. It's confusing out there. So fasting for autophagy, just again, Rob Wolf has great tips. I love what he says. Fasting keeps your blood sugar and insulin levels low, but autophagy is strongly linked to longevity. When autophagy is compromised, the risk of degenerative disease rises. Fasting flips this longevity program for free. And that's why Dr. Mindy Pelz is on a mission to get people fasting, because it costs $0. But Rob Wolf says coffee, strength training, and getting some sun, which I do often hear, enhances autophagy. So do some of all these things, but don't rely exclusively on fasting. That's from Rob Wolf, and you can get his free fasting guide ebook on his website. Coffee, strength training, getting in the sun. Who doesn't want that? So do your strength training and not be afraid of that. Dr. Dan Plews, and we're almost done our 30 minutes here. I'm up on my time. Dan Plews on Endure IQ talks about fasted exercise. Fasted training and training low glycogen availability are both beneficial for improving training. We want to look at what we're doing. So be careful that you are not fasting too much and that you're listening to your body and you know when you should eat. But whoops, I just flipped this slide. I think we need to remember this zone 2 was my point of this conversation. Do your zone 2 training, which we also call max aerobic function. Phil Maffetone taught us years ago about this, and then do our HIIT training. But then the fasted exercise, we want to make sure we're not doing too much of it. Training too much chronic, Dan Plew says, with low energy availability can lead to endocrine disruption. So fasted training and training with low glycogen availability is beneficial to improving training adaptation and fat adaptation. But again, anything too much can cause disruption as low energy availability, and hormone is endocrine disruption. The female athlete triad comes from low energy availability. Male endurance can also experience this. Make sure you have your daily energy deficit is make sure it's not too low. So check that you're eating enough. Check that your macros of your protein, you're reaching those goals of ideal body weight, say 150, and that's getting your protein in 150 grams of protein for that example, and you're nailing that throughout the day. So you're getting 30 to 50 grams max at once, spread throughout the day. So that's 3 meals. Maybe you're having essential amino acids, maybe some bone broth, and getting that in to get your macros, macro goal for protein hit, and doing your protein building workouts and getting post-workout, you're getting some protein from something as whey that has a higher amount of leucine to help protein synthesis. Or if you can't do whey, you can try the Equip beef broth protein, which tastes good. It actually sounds disgusting, but it's actually has no flavor to me, and I'm picky. So just make sure you're doing your zone 2 80% of the time, 20% speed work, making sure you're doing easy workouts in between, focus on getting that strength training in, and hopefully that will help your performance gains, and work on this base building in the off season. Training fasted versus fed is a big conversation, and making sure you're recovering from the workouts. I think we tend to get into eating too little, and we have this energy flux, negative energy flux. So we're training in low fasted state, and then we're not eating enough, and we're burning fat, but then we're not repairing and rebuilding. So we're more catabolic versus anabolic. And if you're aging athlete and an aging female athlete pre-post menopausal, we really need to get that protein because we're fighting that low estrogen and low testosterone. We need to do more heavy lifting, 3 to 6 repetitions, getting say 3 to 5 sets of a couple exercises, and doing that every other day, or lifting 4 days a week. Say it's chest, back, total complex body movements, deadlifts, squats, bench press, stuff like that. Stacy Sims talks about, but lifting weights is anabolic, building muscle. Excessive cardio, catabolic. So I would do less workout on the cardio stuff during the week, and do key quality longer sessions on the weekends. Weekdays, minimal effective dose, shorter workouts with sprints at the finish. So zone 2, and then maybe finish with their sprints, lift first, and then do short cardio if you need to do cardio. And then like me, I like to swim at lunchtime. But training a low glycogen state, eating your fat and protein instead of being fasted all the time can make sure you have enough energy on board, so you're not stressing the body, disrupting hormone balance. So make sure you're monitoring your time restricted eating and fasting windows. So make sure you're not overloading the stressors, right? So too much of anything can cause metabolic chaos. So lots more on my website. All these slides are on debbiepotts.net. Go to the free ebooks, and hopefully that can help you out. Train low, race high, how we train, how we fuel and perform as a low carb athlete. So with that, I will end the show today, and let me know if you have questions. You can schedule a discovery call with me, Coach Debbie Potts, on my website, debbiepotts.net. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.